Okay, so let's talk about the Epic Games launcher. So you guys know about Epic Games launcher and my feelings on Epic Games launcher, and I'm sure a lot of you guys share similar sentiments for the most part. Epic Games launcher is only around on people's computers for one reason and one reason only, and that's to get all the free games that come with it. That's literally it. That's the only reason why people use Epic Games. Nobody else uses Epic Games for any other reason other than a free video game storage, I guess would be the word. So aside from that, nobody uses it. Tim Sweeney says that the reason people characterize the Epic Games launcher as clunky is, wait for it, because the Epic Games launcher is clunky. The Epic boss recently shared his thoughts in a lengthy interview with Lex Friedman. Now, I'm surprised to see that Tim Sweeney is actually admitting this. I think this is probably a good thing overall to be self-aware. But he's actually admitting that his own launcher is shitty, which a lot of people have been saying for a long time. The Epic Games Store sucks less than it used to, but not a very high praise, but it's about as far as I'm willing to go. It has improved undeniably, but it's still painfully slow, awkward, and just not pleasant to use, not to the point that I refuse to use it. But if I have a choice between Steam and Epic, all else being equal, I'm going with Steam. And I think most people will have that sentiment. I don't know of a single PC player that would ever choose Epic Games over Steam. Not a single one. If there's any out there, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I would love to know why. I really would. But overall, there's not a single person out there that I know that would pick Epic Games over Steam on the PC platform. My PR pals at Epic may not be super happy to hear me say that out loud, but I'm not the only ones who feel that way. Epic Game boss Tim Sweeney thinks so as well. He says one of the reasons that people characterize the Epic Games launcher as clunky is because the Epic Games launcher is clunky. Sweeney said during a recent interview with Lex Friedman, "We need to improve this. We've not put enough emphasis on the quality of life features. We'll recognize this very clearly multiple times. We've gone through multiple refactorings, but that's definitely been a disappointment to us and to a lot of users." Quite frankly, you guys, I kind of see it similar to Rumble versus YouTube, right? Where Rumble is trying, right? Rumble's trying. They have a lot of quality of life stuff that is missing from the platform that would make them exponentially better. Where YouTube didn't have that when it first came out, but the simple fact is they have it now and people are used to it. It's the same thing with Steam. Steam didn't have all these quality of life features when it first came out. I know because I was there. I remember it. Right? But they didn't have all this stuff, but they do now. They have the friends list, right? They have the chat. They have the groups. They have the discussion pages. They have the screenshot sharing, the profile editing. They have all this stuff. Epic Games doesn't have any of that, right? Epic Games is literally just a digital retailer for Epic Games. That's it, with a friends list. That is literally it. That is the big problem. They need to make it something that people actually want to spend their time in, because Steam already has that. Steam has such a huge, I was gonna say player base, but I should say customer base because they're a retailer. So Steam has a huge customer base, and it's a customer base that could be tapped into if Epic Games actually gave the time and the effort into doing it. But the funny thing is, they are spending so much money into trying to offer free games to get people away from Steam that they're not spending any money on increasing the quality of life to keep people there. So what ends up happening is people just go to Epic Games to download the free game and then they leave. And nobody uses it, right? Nobody spends money there. Barely anybody will buy products there unless they are exclusive to Epic Games. And even then, a lot of people will wait until it comes out on Steam to buy it. Kingdom Hearts proved that, right? So I don't know why they continue to invest money in shit that is clearly not working for their platform. If they want to compete with Steam, you have to be better than Steam, or you have to, at the very least, offer equal things that Steam offers. But they can't do it, right? Raging Furball just said, "I hate to admit it, but I'm somewhat proud of my Steam profile." Bro, me too. Me too. I'm building such a portfolio. I never cared about it before, but over the last couple of years, I started caring about it. I'm building a portfolio over on Steam with screenshots, reviews for people to reference, videos, all kinds of shit that people over at the Steam community can utilize. I get comments all the time. Like, I actually like it. I'm proud of it. I think it's awesome. I think I'm almost level 80 right now. which is, I know that's nothing compared to some people, but still, I only started caring about it little by little. Genetic Explorer says exactly 15 years of service with Steam. Hard to give that up, bro. I feel you. In June, I'm going to tick over to 21 years of service. I've been there since day fucking one of Steam. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So at this point, you know, there's a lot of things that Steam offers in terms of quality and in terms of overall, I guess you could say, just life features, like in being able to connect with people, have conversations, have discussions, have forums. Forums are a huge thing, right? Forums allow the conversation around a video game to fester and to continue and to build up hype for your game. On Epic Games, they don't have any of that. So if you have a game that is exclusive to Epic Games and nobody could go to your platform to talk about it, well, that kind of sucks. You know, that kind of sucks for the most part. I think people would have probably liked to be able to discuss certain games that are exclusive over there, but they can't. They can't do it, right? So I think the first thing they have to do is take the money that they're investing in this nonsense, and I'm sure they got plenty of money. I mean, they're throwing money everywhere, right? They're offering developers now a 0% revenue share plan for up to $1 million to try to get people to, you know, launch games exclusively with them. 21 years, you're using Steam before I was born? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've been using Steam for a long... Yeah, 21 is long. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Yeah, so I think that's something they need to do. They need to take some of the money that they're investing elsewhere that's a waste, and they need to put it into quality of life features, in my opinion. And it seems like they agree because, again, he says that they need to put more emphasis on the quality of life features. It has indeed been disappointing in our 2024 comparison of the many launchers available for PC. Epic scored a miserable 41%, which is better than the Microsoft Store, EA, and Battle.net, to be fair, but still a far cry from Steam, GOG Galaxy, and even itch.io. Bro, they couldn't even beat GOG. They couldn't even beat GOG, bro. And people are really starting to love GOG. So I don't know, man. At this point, I think Epic dropped the ball. I think they had an opportunity when they were brand new to really try to bring something that people would be able to try to use as an alternative platform that didn't just give free games and that's it. But that's literally all they've become. That's all they've become. That's it. Toxic says, my Steam account is 20 years old. Nice. Mine too. For right now, anyway. Like I said, in June, it'll tick over. I think it's June. Yeah, June, it'll tick over to 21 years. But that's a lot of time to invest. You know, that's a lot of time to invest in a, I don't even know if you want to call it a product, more like a platform. It's a lot of time to invest. One of the challenges facing Epic, according to Sweeney, is that its launchers problems aren't uniform, but can vary dramatically depending on the user's distance to a CDN, which is a content delivery network, and the size of their collection. Speaking from experience, that rings true. I have no idea what my neighborhood CDN is, but I do have pretty crappy internet. And why am I not shocked that a journalist has crappy internet? If you're a journalist and you have crappy internet or a crappy computer, you're doing your job wrong. Anyway, and loading up any kind of sizable Epic library is an exercise of frustration, especially when compared to Steam, which flows like water by comparison. Comparisons with Steam also came up in the interview. Naturally, Sweeney reiterated his long-held position that Epic launchers shouldn't adopt all the features offered by Steam, but said he does want all of the convenience features that make it as easy and fun to use as Steam. He also predicted boldly, I would say, that in the long run, the benefits of the Epic Games approach are going to outweigh the benefits of this Steam approach. What? Where's my button? This man has lost his fucking mind. Where's my button?
Holy shit.
Are you out of your fucking mind, bro? Are you out of your mind? Epic Games, the way that they run the Epic Game Store is gonna out benefit the way that Steam is being run. Yeah, tell that to Steam, who's been around for fucking 2 decades, bro. Tell that to bro. Steam has been around for 2 decades. How long has the Epic launcher been around? Are you serious right now? That is some serious cope. There is no way that Epic Games will come anywhere close to matching Steam. On top of that, you just admitted that you don't want to incorporate all the features that Steam has, which tells me you will always be the inferior platform. If you're not going to try to match what your competition is doing or even exceed them, right? Which that means you can't exceed them. If you're not going to match them, how are you going to exceed them? That tells me everything I need to know. You clearly are sniffing some strong shit, because there is no way that Epic Games is going to surpass Steam if that is your mindset. I don't care how many free games you offer. It doesn't matter. Like, you guys don't profit off of free games. I'm sure they understand that. I'm sure from a business perspective, they get that, right? They don't profit off of free games. They spend tens of millions of dollars on free games a month, I believe. They spend so much money to offer free games to people every single month. They are bleeding money dry. If it wasn't for Fortnite and the disgusting amount of money that that game brings in, on top of some of their other exclusives, like Unreal Engine, for example, bringing them in money, if it wasn't because of that, they'd be fucked a long time ago. They wouldn't be able to offer all these free games. It doesn't matter if most of them are indie games. You still got to pay these people. Now, this guy is smoking some good stuff. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be good. It has to be. He says your game vastly benefits by connecting all of its players together and not segregating them into other different online platform populations and so on, Sweeney said. I think the future trend is in that direction. I wish Valve had opened up Steamworks to just work on all platforms. They could have easily done it. We did it, but they seem to be using it as a lever to keep people locked into the Steam PC game store. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? First off, they're a private company. They don't want you meddling around with their shit. And number two, why wouldn't they? When you are the top dog in the fucking industry, there is no reason for you to want to give that to other people that are competing against you. There's no reason. You made a platform to compete against Steam. You didn't make a platform to work with Steam. You made a platform to compete against Steam. So why would they want to give that to you? They're just going to let you bury yourselves. Gabe has had to do absolutely nothing to compete against the Epic Games launcher. The Epic Games launcher has been felting itself since it's come out. There is no reason, zero, for Gabe to do anything, to work with you, to help you, nothing. Nothing at all. And I understand, yes, it could have been easy for him to open up Steamworks. But why would he? Why would he? What's this guy smoking? Bro, I don't know, but you should find it. If you want good stuff, you should find it immediately. Sweeney also took a moment to call out a very... Uh-oh, here we go. Oh, no, here we go. Oh, this is taking a turn. This is a plot twist. We got a plot twist. Hold on, where's my Law and Order sound? Plot twist. I didn't even know this was in here. Now we're going to talk about harassment campaigns. How the fuck did we go from Epic Games versus Steam to harassment campaigns? But okay, all right. I'm ready for it. Here we go. Sweeney also took a moment to call out a very toxic group of Steam users who engage in harassment campaigns against developers who use Epic online services. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, for instance, suffered a spat of early negative reviews on Steam because it automatically installed Epic online services along with the rest of the game in order to enable crossplay and synchronize friends lists. Developers do that so they can connect their players across platforms and have friends across platforms and voices across platforms, Sweeney said. But suddenly that's trying to be turned into a negative. Also, now we're complaining about people who are complaining about things that are being installed against their will on their computer in order to play their games. I mean, is that really, are people not allowed to do that anymore? Why am I not surprised? Whether Sweeney's prediction that Epic will ultimately outlast Steam, which it's not going to. I'm telling you right now, that prediction is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Flat out. Exactly, right? Turns out people don't like stealth installs, right? Shocker. Isn't that a crazy sentiment? Dormant Psych over on Rumble says it's for data collection. They want to sell it. Of course. It's the same reason why PlayStation wants you to link your PSN account to your Steam account so they can get your data and sell your data. Your data is very valuable. They want to sell it. If they can't get you in their ecosystem, they might as well get your data. It says that ultimately outlast Steam, which again, that's retarded. He says, or I suppose that he'll one day convince Gabe and the company to open their walled garden. Yeah, good luck with that. Remains to be seen. For now, though, I think we can all agree that he's right, that we're right about the Epic launcher. It is definitely clunky. Fortunately, if you're one of the Epic users struggling with it, there are options. GOG Galaxy would do the job. And for something more purpose-built, Heroic is miles better at being the Epic Games launcher than the Epic Games launcher, according to PCGamer.com. Guys, I'm telling you flat out, that if there's anybody out there that genuinely believes, aside from Sweeney, because he's the CEO, so of course he's got to say something like that, right? Of course. Or is he the CEO? I think he is. Whatever. Anyway, he's high up there. If Sweeney is saying something like this, fine. He's retarded. He's supposed to. He gets paid for it. If there's anybody else that's not getting paid for it, that is going to try to convince you that Epic Games Launcher is going to outlast Steam, please just reference them to the nearest therapist hotline and tell them to get help. Tell them to get help. Or at the very least, you can tell them and ask them, hey, what exactly did you smoke today that made you so fucking high to even remotely think that that's going to happen? Seriously. I really want to know. I want to know. I don't even smoke, and I want to know. I can't even imagine what that kind of a high must feel like in order to start thinking some nonsense like that. Gray the Merchant says, quick nap. Yeah, seriously. I want that high he has. Yeah. Absolutely. Fucking retards, bro. It's like, what? I have never heard anything like that before. I'll tell you like this, and we'll end it with this. So, if it wasn't for Epic Games giving away free games, how long do you think they would have lasted against Steam? How many active users do you think the platform would even have against Steam? It would probably be like 1/20th of what it is now. Maybe even less than that. The free games is the only reason why people sign up for the platform, number one, and utilize the platform at any given time. So if it wasn't for those free games, most people would not even be signing up for it. The only time they would have signed up for it is maybe for the hardcore fans of video games that are exclusively released on that platform at the time. Like Alan Wake 2, for example. If anybody's a hardcore Alan Wake fan and they just couldn't wait for it to go on Steam, which it never did, by the way. But if they just couldn't wait, then they would buy it on Epic Games, right? Fine. I understand that. But those few people are few and far between. Most people would not have even bothered. The platform would be dead, bro. Seriously. The platform would be dead. People are like 2 weeks. I don't think it'll be 2 weeks. I think it'll be 6 months to a year, to be honest with you. Well, the fan says just reinstall Windows, haven't installed Epic. You see? Sometimes free games can't even convince people to install Epic Launcher, which is actually pretty hilarious. So shout out to Will the fans. I'm considering sending the Epic Games launches in a recycle bin, even with the free games. I wouldn't blame you. I would not blame you. Epic needs to offer free food and beer. Even then, I don't think it's going to happen. Probably. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. But yeah, I thought this was hilarious. I didn't even realize he was going to. I didn't even realize. I didn't read this far that he was going to go into harassment campaigns. That's just wow. Like, Mr. Sweeney, you are definitely coping, my guy. Keep working at it. Maybe in 20 years, you'll get to the basic of what Steam's at. Maybe.